Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, got a fucking banger for you guys today. We're going to try something a little different. Instead of me and Reggie telling you one of our stories or advice about doing drugs, I'm actually going to recount someone else's story that really stood out to me and I thought would be entertaining for you guys to hear. This one specifically spoke to me because I very recently had my first definitive bad trip. I've tripped well over 100 times at this point and truly can say that I have finally had one bad trip. In no means has this stopped me from tripping. If anything, I'm even more looking forward to the next time that I do mushrooms specifically. But this story stuck out for that reason. I'm Yuki, joined by my co-host Reggie, and you're listening to Modern Day Hippie, the podcast about doing drugs in a responsible, fun, and safe way to improve your life. Before we jump into today's episode, a quick legal disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Our goal is to educate and inform others about the realities of substance use in an engaging format. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to attempt to recreate anything found in this episode or any of our other content. We are not confessing to any acts stated in this podcast. The content in this episode should not be treated as factual or real in any way. Now, with that, we hope you enjoyed today's show. I am an experienced psychedelic user, and this experience scared the shit out of me. I had finely ground 3 grams of albino penis envy shrooms from an amazing grower with good genetics. I had no specific intention other than to have some fun with my wife. My wife took close to 3 grams of some golden teachers that we had, and she is new to psychedelics. The come up was extremely strong. We had visuals within 10 minutes of drinking the 3Gs. 1 hour in, and I'm tripping really hard. Very euphoric, and I'm doing lots of stretching because it felt so good. We turned off all the lights and turned on Tedeschi Trucks band on the couch in our living room. It's an absolutely amazing band for tripping. They're super talented. Closed eyes visuals looked awesome. Lots of faces and floppy long fingers swirling and making shapes. Female arms shaping around me. She was wearing Rasta colors, green, yellow, and red on her sleeves. Very cool. My body was buzzing, and the vibrating buzz went along with the visuals that I had. My eyes were constantly rolling back as I tried to keep them open. An hour and a half in, my open-eyed visuals were amazing. They were some of the best I've ever experienced on mushrooms. Eyes, faces, and dragon-like faces were poking their presence in and out of my field of vision. I remember talking to them saying, "What you got for me?" or "Let's fucking get in it." I guess pretty much asking them to show me some cool shit. And they did. This is where it got fucked up. My wife asked to go to the bedroom. We get there and put our sleeping eye shades on with music playing in the room. She rolled to her side and scooted her butt on me, which means let's have sex, I thought, but I wasn't sure. I was tripping way too hard to comprehend anything. I laid there cuddling her, thinking very hard on the situation. Is she hinting that she wants to have sex? Can I not take a hint? This started a deep, deep rabbit hole mentally. Have people been trying to give me hints my whole life? Have I taken psychedelics too far? Am I crazy and nobody has told me? I began to sweat. My wife asks if I'm okay. I tell her yes, I just need a minute. I began to feel like this trip was set up for me to see what kind of shit show life I created, and finally my wife can point out how stupid and crazy I am for wanting to do this. She sits cross-legged on the bed as I'm laying there on my back. We turn the lamp back on. She can tell I'm not doing okay. I begin to ask her if I'm crazy. I'm not crazy, am I? In this moment, it felt as if the entire world was shunning me out of it. I felt I was going to be this way forever. I would not be able to live a normal life. I fucked up. The world and its people do not want me here, I felt. It was a very sad and crazy feeling. Very scary. My life has been a lie. I don't know who the fuck I am. Death is coming up and I don't belong here. I don't have the answers. I couldn't get life figured out, but everyone else did. I took a walk to the living room, pacing. Come on, man, get your fucking shit together. I go back to the bedroom and begin to explain to my wife how I was feeling, expecting her to say, "Yes, we have been trying to tell you that you have been doing this all wrong your entire life." Instead, she said, "It's okay, I'm here for you and I love you. We just took shrooms." I began to think of our daughter and how much I love her. I started to become extremely grateful for my life. I started to feel I was coming back to reality. I tried, but failed at the time, to explain to my wife what the fuck was going on with me. I had experienced an ego death. My wife scooting her butt on me triggered an ego death, which is hilarious. In all seriousness, some people don't come back once they lose their grip on reality. I can see how. It seems so real in the moment, which is what makes it so scary. I lost who I was. I was confused and piecing together all my relationships and friendships my entire life, thinking that it was all a lie. I cried coming out of it because I could feel love again. I understood love from family, and I knew it was true love for my 4-year-old daughter. The night ended and I felt amazing. We laughed and we cried together. We laughed so hard we couldn't breathe with tears rolling from our faces. I love this beautiful life. Mushrooms is such a beautiful teacher. I'm very grateful. P.S. She was not hinting at having sex. She was just getting comfortable and wanted to cuddle and listen to music. That's the story. While my bad trip, I cannot say it was incited by thoughts of having sex or anything remotely close to that. I did have a similar experience where my ego death was so intense that I was truly 110% convinced that I was going to die. And if I closed my eyes, I would never wake up again. And as this guy came out of his trip, the lack of just happy emotions, the lack of feeling love, when that came rolling back in, it really flooded him with happiness and gratitude. And that was something that I related to a lot. Even these trips that can be terrible and horrible things in the moment, I truly think that we have the power to make them something positive, whether it's right when we're coming out of it, which is exactly what this guy experienced, or if it's something that takes a little bit longer to take hold. I know from my bad trip, as I was getting my grip on reality, I knew that in the long run, it would be something that would be positive. And by long run, I'm talking like a week. It's not even that long of a time. But as I was coming out of it, I just was kind of still stuck on these emotions of how just absolutely terrified I was. And the fact that I had never experienced a terror like that in my entire life. Now I'm able to look back on it. I remember everything that happened, but I am grateful that I had that experience because it truly gave me so much perspective, even more gratitude for love and happiness and the life I lead, which is something that shrooms always does for me. But it also made me a lot more empathetic for people who struggle with things like depression and panic attacks and all these things that I've been very lucky to not experience throughout my life. But this trip gave me a very visceral sense of that. So I'm grateful to that. And I very much agree that mushrooms are a beautiful teacher. That's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this story. The only way for me to know if you guys liked it is to show some love below. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do. You know the drill. But if you want to see more of these, let me know by showing me on whatever podcast player you're listening to. Have a great day, guys. Truly, thank you for listening to the show. We seriously fucking appreciate it. If you want to help us out, just leaving a rating or a comment, you know the drill, would be incredibly helpful. But more importantly, share the knowledge and the love with your friends. Make sure they're getting the information they need on this topic that is so underserved and underappreciated in today's society. We'll see y'all next week.